Golly, that's good.
I haven't found my first Blanton's.
Wow. That's different. I really like that.
Peychauds or Pechaud's or...
Yeah, now I'm gorgeous.
Although probably fuzzier was better.
Okay. So, this is not what I expected. Hey, how's it going? We are here. We're rocking and rolling. It's Thirsty Thursday. It's 7:30 on a Thursday, and it's time to wrap up our series on bourbons for beginners. This has been a really fun series to do. I hope people have learned a little bit off of it. I was talking about it when I was in Lexington. What? Has it been? No, last week. I was going to say, how long has it been? Just last week, I was down talking about beginning bourbons with people. They want to drink bourbon, but it's hard for them. It's not what they're used to tasting. It's harsh. It's turpentine or whatever you want to give it. And so I've been trying to give you some primers about some things that you can do to get into bourbon if you're not into bourbon. And the first rule was to take it easy. Take it slow. Don't rush yourself. Drink it how you like it. You know, I know there's a big push to drink everything neat. That's what I like to do. But I didn't get there overnight. I mean, and also, too, to qualify that, you got to remember that I was drinking vodkas and gins and things like that before I ever came to bourbon. It took me 25 years to like bourbon again. It took me 25 years to like bourbon, period. I just didn't touch it. I got sick on it when I was young. Didn't touch it again. Mike, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. And I didn't touch it again, so it took me a while. But one of the things that I've found out through becoming a bourbon steward and in just talking to people is like there's different strokes for different folks, different tastes. Not everybody likes the same thing. Even trolling the different bourbon pages on social media and all that stuff, I find that there's some people who just love high proof, and there's some people that really don't. There's some people that love Basil Hayden, and some people that really don't. And some people that love ryes better than bourbons or Irish whiskey or Canadian whiskey. I mean, Scotch. There's a lot of Scotch drinkers out there. A lot of people who really don't like Scotch. So the whiskey world is huge, and there's just a lot you can do with it, and there's a lot of fun you can have with it. So what I would tell you is if you're starting on bourbon, whiskey, whatever, first thing you do is take it slow and start with a proof that you can manage. And we've gone over a few of those. I'm not going to regurgitate all of them tonight, but some of them that really stood out for me with those lower proof offerings was the 80 proof Jim Beam. It's bottom shelf stuff, but it's tasty. I'd say the 81 proof Wild Turkey was also really good. What we got here? Hope you're doing well. I didn't get into bourbon until I found out a customer of mine was making bottling machines for a company called Buffalo Trace. Yeah, that's a great introduction into booze. That's a really good introduction. That's really cool, actually. But start with those. Another one that I've always liked. I do like the Irish whiskeys. Redbreast is super smooth. It's 80 proof. There's the tin cup. This is one that we did last week. We did all 3 tin cups, and of the 3, I think I like the original the best, even though it's really timid for my taste. But if you're a new bourbon drinker, this may be really flavorful for you. And then the Tullamore Dew. That's another one that I think is a great offering. The other thing, too, that I haven't really talked a whole lot about is that you don't have to jump right into liking whiskey for the taste of whiskey. You can play with it. We're going to do a little bit of that tonight, just to give you some ideas of some things that you can do. Mixed drinks, cocktails is a great way to get into whiskey. Old-fashioned, the Manhattans. I mean, some people don't even like those, but I'm going to show you some other things tonight. And I've showed you those before. Hey, Mac, how are you? I've shown you some other recipes before of some things, like the Whiplash. Go back and watch the Bourbcast when we did Blackened, the Metallica music, loudness, thump, 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 infused bourbon. They make the barrels vibrate, which in essence makes them think that the bourbon goes into the wood more. brings out more of the char. It's possible. Okay. Try something with a port finish. There's a lot of wine finished bourbons. There's, what is it? Jefferson's has got one that's done in wine casks. Then, of course, there's Angel's Envy, and they have one, the rye is done in, I believe, a rum cask, and then the bourbon is done in port wine casks. So, I mean, there's all sorts of different things out there that you can try that might be easier on your palate. May have different flavors, especially if you're making cocktails out of it. Now, I wanted to go, I'm excited. I got to show you this. Okay, I got to show you this. You know, I was waiting for my new ice maker. It came. Okay. Ooh, almost. This is my new ice maker. This is the Wintersmith Phantom. Even sounds, it's a good one for this time of the year, right? Phantom, boo. But the Phantom, I got 2 different molds. I'm going to get more now that I figured out how this thing works. It's not as idiot-proof as the other one I was using that just does 2 spheres. You got to make sure everything lines up right. And so it's got these things, and you got to pretty much cover the whole thing up with water. And then there's a lot of water that goes on the inside, too. So it's just stainless steel on the inside. We're talking. Iron fish finished in Caribbean rum barrels in Michigan. That's a terrible name for a drink. Iron fish? What were they thinking? That's terrible. I mean, it might be delicious. I'd be willing to try it. But that's a terrible name. It's like, let's call it skid mark. Yummy. That's awful. Anyway, so the way that this works is you put the water in here, and you could do just hot tap water. You don't have to boil it. I've proven it works. All right, so you stick the water in. There's a couple different water levels. The lower water level is for the big spheres. The higher water level is for the little bitty spheres. And you fill it up, and then you stick this down in there, and basically, it's just, this is the top and this is the bottom. You got to make sure they line up, because, you know, it's not all together perfect all the time. Like right now, I don't have them lined up at all. These would be terrible ice spheres. The first batch I did, they were horrible. The second batch was really good. I'll show you. First, I want to show you the little one, because it's so cute. It is a little perfect ice sphere. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it's just tiny and slippery, but isn't that awesome? I know it's a little hard to see, but I'm wearing a black shirt, so I'm hoping that helps a little bit. Now this is going to it's going to melt faster than a big ice sphere because there's a lot more surface area being exposed. It's melting in my hand right now, but it's perfect. It's gorgeous. It's clear. It'll make a statement, especially if you do, like, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 of those in a glass. I just wanted to show that to you because it's so cool. But that's what this one does. It'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 different spheres. Okay? Here, I'll hold it up and you can count it. No. And then the big one, we'll do 7 spheres. And my first batch of those did not come out right. They were pretty awful. Because I didn't take the time to do it right. I didn't pay attention. But once they're done, man, I got 7 of them now. Get some of that. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, isn't that beautiful? It's slippery. There we go. Gorgeous! So this is Wintersmith's, the Phantom. That's awesome. I hate making like 4 at a time. Yeah, mine would only do 2 at a time. And, you know, it's 24 hours out of your day, and you're making 2, and you're going to be done with those in a week. All right? So this will do 7 at a time. It's not the cheapest ice mold out there. This was about $100, plus the molds. So it was a little bit more. I mean, but what else are you going to spend it on? Food? Come on. All right, so I was excited about that. I'm glad I showed it to you. I wanted to show you that it really does work, and it really is kind of cool. And I did get in touch with the guys because my first molds did not come out well. And I actually got in touch with customer service, and they got right back with me, and they gave me some tips, and it worked out great. And you saw them. They're perfect. I'm very pleased. Very happy. And their customer service seems to be really, really good. They've got a couple more molds that I want to get. One is like these long, like, I don't even know what to call them. They'll go in like a Collins glass, but they're really long, like a kosher spear, you know, only not a pickle. Well, I suppose you can make them out of pickled juice, but anyway, there's that, and then there's a couple different cube molds. So you can get a really large cube, and you can do small cubes. Clear ice. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zip through some of this stuff because I don't really intend to try everything tonight. There are a couple of them I want to get into just because. And some of them are not available in the state of Ohio. So for those of you watching out of the state, you may be familiar with these when other people may not. Ah, there we go. My glass. Okay. So the first one I'm going to hit on here is Old Fitzgerald. Now this is the bottom barrel Old Fitzgerald. This is 80 proof. If you're in Ohio, you can get it over the border to the south of us. I tried this a while back, and I remember loving it. It's been a while since I've had it. So we're just going to try this first. Kevin's here. Old Fitzgerald, buddy. This is the 80 proof, the bottom shelf stuff. But that's what we're talking about is those first drinks. And I'm going to stack this up against the other ones that we've tried. Got a really nice caramel nose. Ethanol's not heavy. There's honey on it, some vanilla. A lot of the notes that you want to have on a bourbon. There's a little bit of ethanol there, actually. I may have to open mine. I think you might like it. I like it. It'd be worthwhile. If you have one, you should open it. No peer pressure or anything. I'm not like that. All right. Let's see here. Getting a slight fruit note, maybe plum or... Yeah, I'm going to stick with plum. That's just what is conjuring in my noggin. All right, here we go. That one has different characteristics. So, my complaint with Basil Hayden is that there's nothing going on in the front of the palate. And then when you swallow it, it's holding everything in the back. It slams the door on the way down, and the flavor is way back here. That's not where I want to taste my whiskey. Okay. That being said, the Old Fitzgerald had a very unusual mouthfeel. When I first took my first sip, it felt very thin to me, which would be great for a new bourbon drinker. There was no bloom, nothing. Then when I swallowed it, it didn't kick me like Basil Hayden does, but it did all of a sudden initiate this post-taste, post-palate bloom. It was. I've never had anything else like it. Nothing else has ever done this. Where I had my drink, and then once it started to leave my palate, the bloom started. I'm gonna do that again. That was cool. It's all over, though. It's on my tongue. It's everywhere. That's neat. It's really unusual, really cool. The flavors are good, though. Even though it's got a thin mouthfeel on the front, and it doesn't have a whole lot of ethanol and not a whole lot of kick or anything doing anything, the flavors are nice. And I think that's one of the things I like about this Old Fitzgerald is it's just a nice, smooth drinking whiskey. And it does have a little bite on the back end, which, some seasoned bourbon drinkers may like. For those who are young and don't want that bite, there's always a little bit of water. Come on. There we go. Just a little bit because there's not much left in there. There's like nothing left in there. That's funny. I amuse myself. We had some excitement in the hood today. Last night, evidently, a guy from Michigan was driving up I-75 and got pulled over for speeding. And when he got pulled over, the highway patrolman evidently smelled marijuana. So he told the guy to get out of the car. That's when it started. The guy got out of the car and I guess attacked the patrolman, tried to get his gun. In the midst of it, the gun went off and the patrolman got shot in his lower extremities. That's all they're saying. So, anyway, he got away and he drove his car like over to where our county home is and the BMV. That's where everybody needs to go, is the BMV when things are bad, right? So I've never seen anybody worth it smiling in the BMV. So anyway, he like drove over there, and then they started this massive manhunt. They were after him all night long. They finally found his truck, black Suburban, at like 2:00 in the morning, and then they kept looking. They had drones and they had like heat-seeking drones and whatever, and they had a helicopter and just all sorts. And finally, they found him like at 1:00 this afternoon. I don't know if he was hiding in a barn, he was in a field behind a barn, not sure. But they got him today, which is good. But it's a little excitement in the area, and then they canceled all the schools because they didn't know where this dude had gone. But they found him, and he's got a rap sheet, man. So you'd think that somebody with a long rap sheet for sexual crimes and drug crimes and other violence with officers crimes and already being in prison, you'd think that the dude wouldn't be smoking pot and speeding, right? At like 1:00 in the morning on the interstate. All right. Little commentary. Hey, D, how are you? Cool that you're watching. All right, so this is a little bit of the Old Fitzgerald here with just a little water. Give this a shot. That was cool. With just a pinch of water, it killed the bloom and the ethanol on the back, but actually increased the flavors. It opened it up just a little bit. So, yeah, Old Fitzgerald is a really, really good one for a new drinker, for a new bourbon drinker. All right, let's move on. Woohoo! All right, so there was one that I teased last week, and I want to do this one because this is another one that you can't get in Ohio, but it's available over the border, the southern border into Kentucky. But this is another one of those that's it's a lot like the Old Fitzgerald in that it's low proof. This is 86, so it's not as low as the Old Fitzgerald. I'm actually a little stoked. When I was in Lexington last week, I got to a store that I wanted to go to on the way back. And I got there just in time to pick up a couple bottles. And one of them I picked up. This it? This is it. This is the very old Barton 100 proof. I've heard nothing but good about this. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. We're not doing this one tonight. We're doing this one. So, sorry to tease you, but little things excite me. All right, so here is the very old Barton. This one has a lot of the same notes, but there's a little bit more of a grassiness to it, a little bit of leather to it. Toasted cereal smells. I didn't look any of these up, so this may have a higher rye content, because that's kind of what it's presenting at. It's got a honey base, a little bit of What is all right? A little bit of the buttery type of thing. Yeah, yeah. But that ryegrass, that toasted cereal type of scent, that's saying hello. So let's just. But these are fresh open too, so I don't believe in the neck pour. That's all I'm going to say about that. Nothing on the back. This would be a great opening bourbon for somebody. Got a little bit of a bloom on the tongue, very mild in flavor, no kick on the back. This is nice. This is nice. The 86 proof, it's going to have a little bit more of a bloom than the 80 proofs. It's slow. It's really slow. So if you take your time like I did, 10, 12 seconds, it'll eventually wake up and give you a little wave as it blooms across your tongue. Nice. Nice flavor too. If this is blooming like that, I'm kind of really curious as to what the 100 proof will do. We're not going to find out tonight, but that's how long it took for that bloom to say hello. All right, now let's see if we can get some more notes out of it by adding just a little water. Just a pinch. These are not big pours tonight. All right. The 100 proof is great, but the 86 is so good too. It is. It is. If you're just, one of the things that we talked about with the tin cup is they were actually going on a mission to find a smooth drinking bourbon. They didn't want something that was high proof. They didn't want something that was going to kick you. They wanted something that you could sit around a campfire, per se. The big Colorado, the Rockies, the Rocky Mountain water, all that stuff. But you could sit around a campfire and just drink and enjoy and not be out to impress anybody. Just drink and enjoy, right? So that's their big shtick. Well, I got to say that this very old Barton, the 86 proof, is right along those same lines. It's got a little more flavor than the tin cup. Got a little more bloom than the tin cup. But my gosh, it's really good. Now, putting a little water on it, I bet it's going to open it up and just bring me a little bit more flavor. Let's find out, shall we? Yeah. Yeah. Nice and caramely. There's still some toasted cereal on there, but the caramel comes out more with the water. It's less rye on the palate than it was on the nose. So really an impressive pour. For 86 proof, for what did I say this was? I got my receipt here because I wanted to be able to tell you. The Old Fitzgerald is $16.99. The very old Barton 100 proof was $13.99 for a 750 milliliter bottle. That's all. And that's for the 100 proof, so this is even less. So, good pour, not a lot of money. Nice campfire bourbon. Nice sitting around and enjoying company bourbon. I like it. Running out of room back here. All right, so if I had to do one more, Kevin, I think it was you that mentioned Long Branch. This is 86 proof. And no, I didn't open it beforehand. That's all right. I see the proof. It won't take long. $9.99. I don't know where Gaze is. Where is Gaze? I think you're right. I think it was $9.99. It's inexpensive, totally inexpensive. But it's a great pour for that $10. All right, Kevin, this is one of them that you mentioned. I'm trying to see if there's another one. There's other ones that you mentioned. We're going to get to those later. You mentioned Traverse City, and you mentioned Maker's Mark. Gaze is in Fremont, Indiana. Ah, okay. I have not made it there yet. I've heard a lot about the Indiana liquor stores. I haven't made it there yet. Busy dude. And everything I have to do to get ready for this. So the Traverse City is 43% alcohol. That's 86 proof. We will be hitting the Traverse City soon. I have 3 different Traverse City, and we're going to try them all in one night. Then you also mentioned Makers. Makers is 90 proof. So Makers is a wheated bourbon. Do I have that right? I think it's a wheated bourbon. I may be wrong about that. Is it going to say? Is it going to say? Surgeon General warning, blah, blah, blah. I may be wrong about that. Anyway, Makers is a little bit different, and not everybody loves Makers. I didn't like it at all when I first tried it, and then now I don't mind it so much. So I like the ones that are fully dunked all the way down to here. It's very casual. Anyway, but that's one that you mentioned. We're not going to do that one tonight either. But we will do the Long Branch. Since we did the Wild Turkey, 81 proof, we'll do the Long Branch. I do like Long Branch. I've had this before. Oh. I'm not a Makers fan. It is wheated. Okay. I mentioned the very old Barton. It's wheated. It's okay. Hi, Michael Bauer. Got a couple mics. I like mics. Yeah, see, either you like it or you don't. I don't know anybody that loves, well, I know one person that loves Makers. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I would encourage somebody, greetings again from the Coachella Valley. Wow, cool. I hope you got people gathered around to watch my silliness. All right. So Coachella Valley, I know we've got Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I know there's some other folks. I don't know where everybody's from. I think, Kevin, you're from Northwest Ohio, so we're not too far apart from each other. Gotcha. Just you. Oh, shucks. It'd be nice to have a group of people sitting around and drinking every time I drink, right? Make it a game. Oh, he's drinking. Do one. All right, so this is a Long Branch. This is a Wild Turkey product. This is 86 proof. It's a small batch bourbon. That's a really... I tend to not get excited about small batch bourbons because what's small isn't really all that small most of the time. But it is kind of a craft product. And I do like the Wild Turkey 86. I think I like, or the 81. I think I like the 81 better than the 101, the Wild Turkey 101. Now, one of these days, since I have some Wild Turkey 80, 81, and 101, and probably something in between, I will do a Wild Turkey series, or at least one Bourbcast with all 3 of them, or however many I want to do. All right. All right, Matthew McConaughey's. Got it. All right. He's a guy I can't decide if I like him or not. Matthew McConaughey. I mean, he's a brilliant actor. The Dallas Buyers Club, brilliant movie. He was really good in it. Him personally, there's some things he says that I like, and there's some things he does and says that I don't like. But I can appreciate him as an actor. All right. Okay, so this is going to be really traditional as far as your bourbons go. A lot of the same notes that you would expect on just about everything. I am getting a lot of oak on this one. I'm getting some ethanol. Definitely the vanilla is really popping on this. That caramel, that salted caramel. Maybe even a very slight chocolate note. Speaking of chocolate, I just happen to have a Hershey's dark chocolate right here. Been saving it for a special occasion, and why not add it to the Long Branch, since I got a chocolate note off of that. Dark chocolate. My favorite. All right, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to do the chocolate. Came in late. What are you drinking? All right, so Michael, we started off with the very tasty, very cool Old Fitzgerald. This is their 80 proof. I can't see it. Why do I even try? 80 proof, yeah. This is the bottom shelfer. It's available in other states like Indiana and Kentucky, not in Ohio, but if you can find this 80 proofer, it's a very unusual pour. A lot of flavor, but it doesn't kick till the end, and the kick is just a really nice bloom. It's not like Basil Hayden that saves everything for the back. This is a nice pour, very nice pour. The other one that we've done so far is the Very Old Barton 86 proof. Just another one that is really, really nice. It's got a lot of nice flavor. It's got a slight bloom on it. No kick on the back end. Just really, really flavorful. A little bit of water, but opens both of those up. So you're caught up now. Old Fitzgerald and Very Old Barton. We talked about some of the other ones that we're going to do. We talked about Maker's Mark and Traverse City and Wild Turkey. And now we're going to actually try the Long Branch, which is an 86 proof bourbon. And it's made by Wild Turkey. This is one of the first ones I ever profiled as far as my photos being taken. And the very first photo I took with Long Branch was with my cell phone, but it's still very pretty. It's as a matter of fact, it's if you go to the Facebook page, which you're on now, but when you're done, check out the photo and realize that that photo was taken with my cell phone almost 2 years ago. That's what Beautiful Bourbon was originally all about, is the photography. It just happened to morph into this, and this is just as fun. I like all of this. All right, so here we go, Long Branch. Continue, please. I shall. All right. All right, here we go. Yeah, a lot of the normal notes are there. Just maybe even I just caught a little mint right there. Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Man, that's good. I had forgotten how good that is. Sorry, I just spit all over everything. Man, that's good. Oh, chocolate. For the win. Yeah, baby. So, the Long Branch had a very slow bloom. Very slow. Very flavorful. But like the Old Fitzgerald, when it passed the palate and went down the gullet, that's where its true expression came out as far as the burn goes. There was more bloom after I swallowed it than when it was on the palate. So that was neat. This is just a unique pour. I like this. Yeah, it's really good. All right, just a little bit more so I can add some water to it, because I'm just doing little bitty pours tonight. All right. A friend of mine went to Talladega last weekend and came back through Louisville. Why do I thought I didn't. Came back through Louisville and he was doing different stores and stuff, and I said, you ought to go to downtown and check out some of the distilleries. And I mentioned Angel's Envy, and he went, and he found one of the special releases. Can't remember exactly which one it is. Single barrel, maybe? Something like that. Anyway, he found that, and had to take a picture of it. and show it to me and said, "We're going to do this on a Bourbcast." I'm like, "Great." He was the guy who was on my Buffalo Trace Bourbcast, which for some reason Facebook ejected from the internet. I still have it, and I'm going to put it back up. But there were like 3 Bourbcasts that Facebook ejected from the internet. No warning. They didn't tell me about it. They didn't say, "Hey, by the way, we're taking this video off because meh, meh, meh." Nothing. They were just gone. I don't know if it had something to do with Buffalo Trace and copyright. I don't know. I mean, everybody else's stuff is still up there. Weirdest thing. All right. So I add a little bit of water to the Long Branch. It took down the ethanol in the back, but it didn't really do much on the front. I can't say that I would recommend adding water to this. I didn't sense that the notes changed at all as far as the flavor pairings. As far as the flavor. It didn't pop. It didn't give me any more spice. It didn't amp it up at all. The other ones it did. This one it didn't. So if you're a new bourbon drinker, this is a nice one. Add a little water to it. It won't burn you on the way down. It won't kill you. It's a good one. All right, while we got this one out, there's another thing that you can do if you're a new bourbon drinker. I gotta eat this chocolate. Okay. I shouldn't have done that while I'm talking. But it's dark chocolate. Dude. Okay. And that is cocktails. We talked about this before, that what you could do is take something like Seagram 7, which has a decent enough whiskey flavor. It's inexpensive. You can find it everywhere. Take this and a few ice cubes and add some 7-Up to it. Stir it up, pour it. Done. Gives you the fizz you might be used to with beer, a little bit of the sweetness that you might be used to with wine, but it's got a whiskey flavor to it. So you could do that if you want to get into it. The other thing that you could be doing is, when you're thinking about mixology and you're thinking about making drinks, you got to think of it like you're cooking. So tonight I made a cabbage stew. It's called cabbage roll soup. It was more of a stew than a soup, but okay. I got a buddy of mine that cannot stand cabbage. I mentioned cabbage, and he's like, "No, gross, ew, smells like feet." Okay, so some people don't like cabbage, and I get that. It's fine. I didn't used to like cabbage, but you got to learn how to cook it in a way that you like it. Same thing with Brussels sprouts and broccoli and all these other things. Asparagus, either you love it or you hate it. No, you could probably find a way to cook it where you like it, or you could at least tolerate it. So cabbage, there's a couple different stews, and when he says he hates cabbage, I bring up the one. It's called my infamous cabbage hater's stew, and he loves it. But every time I say cabbage, he's... Bleh. So you got to learn how to cook it, right? Spinach, same thing. With whiskey, it is really different strokes for different folks. If you don't like the taste of whiskey or you don't like the burn of whiskey, there are things that you could do to mitigate that and create a drink that you like with whiskey in it. I'm going to take out my little ball because it makes me too happy to use. I'm going to put it in there with the big ball. Save it for later. Just going to use regular ice cubes. And you don't have to be a genius. There's been some recipes that I've done in Bourbcasts past that I really enjoyed. One of them was the Irish Maid. That's made with whiskey and Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, which is like one of my favorites. Oh my Lord, is this good? And it's got lemon juice and simple syrup in it. I add a little honey to it. I thought that was good. The Irish Maid actually is supposed to have cucumber in it, but it's really good without it. Another one that I made is the Tipperary, which I was going to make tonight, but I forgot to get up and get a couple of the ingredients, and I'm not going to do it. But the Tipperary has got Irish whiskey, vermouth, chartreuse, bitters, and you add all that together. So if you don't want to do that, there's some other things that you can do and be creative about it. So let's just take this long branch. And there went one of my shot glasses. All right. I'm just going to do a little under 2 ounces. Okay. And then I just happen to have some honey simple syrup. This is simple syrup. It's the same thing as simple syrup, only instead of sugar, I used honey. So, and I just thought that might work tonight. Oh, that's going to wrap that up. That's actually probably too much anyway. Yum, 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 yum. Lindsay is here. Hey, Lindsay. How are you? It says my live video has been interrupted. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, well. I reset my router earlier this week, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then we're just going to take a little lemon juice. You can buy simple syrup. I think you gotta make honey simple syrup. We're gonna do about just a little bit of lemon juice. So far I've got simple syrup, I've got whiskey, and I've got lemon juice. Let's see what else we got down here. Okay, a little Grand Marnier. You could use Grand Marnier, or you could use triple sec, or you can use Cointreau. I just bought this. I bought this for a recipe and I haven't made it yet. I'm not going to open it. I do have the Grand Marnier open. So if you don't have orange bitters, this might do. Just a little bit. Just a little. I have no idea what I'm making. I'm inventing a recipe right in front of your very eyes to show you how much fun this can actually be. All right. So then this may suck. This may be terrible. Smells good. I'm into percussion. All right. All right. Let's take that. We'll take this. Strain it right in there. You can choose whatever glass you want when you're creating something from scratch. So I'm choosing this one. All right. Holy cow, is that good? I got lucky. Awesome. Okay. So 2 ounces of Long Branch bourbon. Almost 2 ounces of simple syrup. Little Grand Marnier. I forget what else. I have to go back and watch it. Anyway, oh, you know what else? I brought honey down. I could have put honey in it, but I didn't. So I guess what I'm saying is that you can just have fun and create your own cocktail, just like you would figure out a recipe. And there's tons of cocktail recipes online. There's tons. You can go to Mr. Boston Drinks, or you can go to any one of the distilleries. Every single distillery out there has a recipe page. Now, some of those recipes get a little out there. You may not have the elderflower liqueur. You may not have the chartreuse. They're easy to get. You just go to the store and get them. You may not have different ingredients, but you're going to have most of it. And what I do is I choose the cocktails based on the ingredients that I have. And if you don't have a jigger, use a shot glass or use something else. I mean, you can get Tin Cup, and Tin Cup comes with its own little shot glass. So, I mean, you don't have to use a fancy spoon like this. You just use the spoon that you have in your drawer. Doesn't have to be special. Jeff Tishner's watching. I was talking about you, Jeff. Going to Louisville and getting your Angel's Envy. I just made this ad hoc cocktail that is absolutely freaking delicious. That's really good. My golly. I'm going to have to go back and figure out exactly what I did and write it down because that's really tasty. That's really good. So the point of the matter is if you want to get into bourbon, if your significant other likes bourbon and you don't, but you want to be a member of the team, there are things that you can do to create bourbon drinks or to try different bourbons or to just add a little 7-Up or whatever it takes for you to get used to the idea of drinking bourbon. Now, you might be a bourbon lover and not want your significant other to like bourbon because if they don't, that's more for you. That's fine, but it's more fun to do it with other people. That's what bourbon and all this stuff is for, is to share it with others. And there's nobody better to share it with than somebody that's important to you, whether it's a friend or a significant other or a boss or an employee, whatever. So the bourbon journey is a long one, and there are tons of paths. You can take the one that fits you the best. Austin, how are you? I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry we're just about done. But as soon as I save this, get done with it, it's going to go back and you'll be able to watch the whole thing all over again and love my magnificence. Or just enjoy it. So, hey, thank you for hanging out with me again on a Thursday night. This is always so much fun. I love it so much. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of interruptions in the feed. Maybe that's just my phone, and maybe it's, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're seeing it. I'm seeing it. But next week, I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to jump into that, I think we're going to jump into the Traverse City. I've been seeing these out there. I've got 3 different ones. And I think next week we're going to do this one. Heads up, the week of the 20th, I am back on the road again. From the 20th through the 22nd, I'm going to be out of town. So what we're going to do that week, I don't know yet. I may take the week off, or I may do it on the weekend. I don't know. Also, I'm curious as to whether you